Stop. Don't scroll. Don't skip, because what I'm about to say might be the most uncomfortable truth you've heard in a long time. You think you're busy, but you're not building a life. You're escaping one. Every day you wake up rushing. You eat fast, talk fast, walk fast, think fast. Your mind is constantly running like it's being chased. And you call it hustle. You call it ambition. You call it responsibility. But deep down, you know something is wrong. Because even when you rest, you still feel tired. Even when you achieve something, you still feel empty. Even when life is moving forward, you feel like you're falling apart inside. And here's the scary part. Most people won't realize what rushing is doing to them until it destroys their peace, their health, their relationships, and their entire identity. You don't lose your life in one dramatic moment. You lose it slowly. In the small moments you don't notice. In the conversations you don't fully listen to. In the mornings you don't enjoy. In the dreams you keep delaying. And one day you wake up older, exhausted, and confused, wondering where time went. But listen to me carefully. This video is not motivation. This is a warning, because if you don't learn how to slow down, life will force you to slow down in the most painful way possible. So stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you why your rushed life is silently ruining you, and how to take back control before it's too late. Let's get something straight, because this is where most people lie to themselves. They call it productivity. They call it ambition. They call it the grind. They say, I'm just busy, I've got a lot going on. But if you look closer, if you really pay attention, what you'll see is not discipline, it's not focus, it's not even hard work, it's fear. And that's hard for people to accept, because fear doesn't always look like fear. Fear is not always shaking hands and panic attacks. Fear is often dressed up in responsibility, it's dressed up in urgency. It's dressed up in a packed schedule and an overloaded calendar. Rushing is not a sign that you're winning. Rushing is a sign that your mind has lost control. Because a calm person doesn't rush. A person who knows what they're doing doesn't rush. A person who has clarity doesn't rush. They move with intention. They move with direction. They move like they own their time. But the rushed person moves like time owns them. And what's interesting is, most people don't even realize they're rushing. It becomes their normal. They wake up already anxious. Their heart is racing before their feet even touch the floor. They check their phone instantly, not because something important happened, but because their mind is addicted to the feeling of being needed, addicted to the feeling of urgency. And you have to understand why that is, because urgency makes you feel important. When you're rushing, you feel like you matter. When you're overwhelmed, you feel like you're doing something meaningful. When your schedule is full, you can tell yourself, look at me, I'm building something. But the truth is, a full schedule is not proof of a full life. Sometimes it's proof of an empty one. Because if you slow down, you might have to face what's really going on inside you. If you slow down, you might notice the loneliness. You might notice the dissatisfaction. You might notice that you're living a life you didn't actually choose. You just accepted it because everyone else is doing the same thing. And that's what makes rushing so dangerous. It doesn't just waste your time, it protects you from truth. Rushing becomes a shield against silence, a shield against reflection, a shield against the uncomfortable question that most people are terrified to ask themselves, am I actually happy or am I just distracted? That's why so many people can't sit still. They can't enjoy peace, they can't relax without guilt, they can't be alone with their thoughts without reaching for entertainment, scrolling, or noise, because the moment the noise stops, the mind starts talking. And for many people, that voice inside is not kind, it's full of pressure, full of doubt, full of regret. So they rush to escape it. But let me tell you something that should hit you hard. If you need to rush to feel okay, you are not okay. And here's the deeper truth. Rushing is rooted in a false belief. The belief that if you slow down, you will fall behind. That belief is everywhere now. It's in social media, it's in hustle culture, it's in the way people talk about success. They've convinced you that if you're not moving at full speed, you're losing. That if you're not constantly achieving, you're wasting your life. But look around. Has all this rushing made people more fulfilled? No. It has made them more anxious. Has it made relationships stronger? No. It has made people more impatient and emotionally unavailable. Has it made people healthier? No. It has made them exhausted, sleep deprived, and mentally burnt out. Because the truth is, rushing is not the same as progress. Rushing is movement without mastery, and movement without mastery is chaos. Think about it. When you rush, you make careless mistakes, you speak without thinking, you react emotionally, you cut corners, you lose your ability to listen, you lose your ability to notice details, you lose your ability to make wise decisions. Rushing doesn't just steal your peace, it steals your intelligence, because wisdom requires space. Good judgment requires stillness. The strongest people are not the fastest people. The strongest people are the most controlled people. They know when to move, when to pause, when to wait, and when to speak. They don't live in constant reaction mode. They don't let life drag them around like a dog on a leash. But the rushed person is always reacting. Reacting to notifications, reacting to problems, reacting to other people's moods, reacting to pressure, reacting to deadlines. And if you live in reaction long enough, you stop leading your life. You start being led. That's the real cost of rushing. It takes away your authority over your own mind. And when you lose authority over your mind, you become easy to manipulate. Anyone can pull your attention. Anyone can create urgency in your life. Anyone can make you feel like you're behind because your nervous system is already trained to panic. And you know what's even worse? Rushing becomes an identity. People start to feel proud of it. They brag about how busy they are. They brag about how little they sleep. They brag about how they're always on the move. But that's not strength. That's dysfunction disguised as ambition. A disciplined person doesn't brag about being busy. A disciplined person is quiet. They are selective. They protect their energy. They don't chase everything. They choose what matters, because here's what rushed people don't understand. The goal of life is not to do more. The goal is to do what matters and do it well. And the irony is, slowing down often makes you faster in the long run, because when you slow down, you stop wasting time on nonsense. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop trying to impress people who don't even respect you. You stop living like you're running out of time, and you start living like a person who is finally in control. That's what calm is. Calm is control. It's the ability to stay steady in a world that tries to shake you. So if you want to change your life, don't start by adding more tasks. Start by removing the urgency. Start by questioning the rush. Ask yourself, why do I feel like I'm always late? Why do I feel like I'm always behind? Who taught me that my worth depends on my speed? Because once you see it clearly, you can break it. And when you break it, you will feel something most people haven't felt in years. Peace, not the peace of doing nothing, the peace of knowing you are moving with purpose. So slow down, not because you're weak, but because you're finally wise enough to realize this simple truth. A rushed mind can never build a powerful life. Now let's go deeper, because this is the part people don't want to admit. Living rushed doesn't just make you tired. It changes who you are. It rewires your personality. It reshapes your emotional life. It alters the way you see the world and the way you treat people. And the reason it's so dangerous is because it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, quietly, like water wearing down a stone. Most people think rushing is just a habit, something they can fix later, something temporary. They say, this is just a busy season. But for many people, the season never ends. It becomes their entire life. And eventually, they don't even know what calm feels like anymore. They lose the ability to be present. And presence is not some trendy word. Presence is the foundation of a meaningful life. If you are not present, you are not truly experiencing anything. You are physically there, but mentally somewhere else. You're eating, but you're thinking about work. You're talking to your family, but your mind is calculating what you need to do next. You're driving, but you're replaying conversations in your head. And that's why rushed people don't feel fulfilled. Because fulfillment doesn't come from doing more. Fulfillment comes from being fully in what you're doing. But a rushed life makes that impossible. A rushed life keeps your mind in the future. You're always chasing, always anticipating, always preparing for the next thing. And the tragedy is that life only exists in the present, but the rushed person almost never lives there. So what happens? They start to feel empty, and they don't know why. They'll tell you, I don't know what's wrong with me. They have a job, they have goals, they have money coming in, they have people around them, but something still feels missing. And what's missing is not more success. What's missing is connection, connection with their own emotions, connection with other people, connection with reality. Because when you rush, you stop feeling deeply. You don't have time to process. You don't have time to grieve. You don't have time to appreciate. You don't have time to love properly. And love requires time, not just time on a clock, time in the heart, time in attention, time in patience. That's why rushed people become impatient people. They interrupt, they react quickly, they assume, they judge, they get irritated over small things, they don't listen fully, they don't notice the tone in someone's voice, they don't notice the sadness behind someone's smile, because their mind is too busy trying to get to the next moment. And over time, this begins to damage relationships, not because the rushed person is a bad person, but because rushing makes you emotionally unavailable. You may be physically present, but emotionally absent. You're there, but not really